backlash from like other lecturers being like, you need to find your own style.
Hello, I'm Alicia and this is Alicia's Journal. Today we have an amazing guest as part of the Black History Project. We will continue to tell more and more stories. I'm so excited to sit down with this lovely young lady. Her name is Luana Pontes. So welcome, Luana.
Hi, thank you.
So Luana, you are the youngest participant, right? You are 24 years young, and I've looked at your bio and I've done a bit of research on you, and I have thought to myself, how does a 24-year-old like achieve all of these amazing things? So first of all, you're a founder of Lux Lit Events. You also create open mic nights, and you also have literary networking events that spotlight new and diverse talents. So at 24 years old, talk me through the very moment when you were just, I don't know, in your room. Where was you? Just in that space where you were thinking, okay, this is something I really want to do and this is something I really want to create.
Yeah. I was 17 and I was in year 13, and just to sort of politely give some background, or rather some context, the sixth form that I went to had about 30 black kids in a year group of 200.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, that says a lot. And when it came to, they even told us that it was the largest amount of global majority students they had accepted into the sixth form that year, which was super crazy. And so when it came round to Black History Month in year 13, we took on the initiative to be like, we're going to do this Black History Month differently. Obviously, like in schools, they're used to telling us stories about Black Americans, Malcolm X, Rosa Parks, and the like. And we were like, nah, we're going to do things differently this time around. So we actually decided to put on a showcase. We all banded together and had like different groups, categories of blackness that we wanted to explore that were true to who we were as young people and reflective of the society that's actually out there, to just educate the rest of our school.
Wow.
Yeah.
So you got 30 of you, right, out of the 200. They want to do something that, speaks to, I guess, some of the narratives that we've heard. So the Malcolm X's, the Martin Luther Kings of the, the world. And so I think one of the things that stood out to me is you said, no, we want to do something different.
Yeah.
We want to tell our own stories.
Yeah.
Right. And so I think what really stands out to me in this moment is this project is all about reclaiming narratives. Right. So in that moment where you're in this space and you've got these 30 other people from different diversities, but black essentially, coming together, what was one of the things that you learned about reclaiming narratives in that moment?
That even though we have our cliches, our good ones and our bad ones, and we have our commonalities about us, they're not the forefront as to like who we are as individuals. It's the key details that matter. Like, it was so beautiful to see how we could all speak to the different parts of us that lit us up inside. So for me, it was the poetry and the spoken word side of things. We had other people that took charge when it came to food and culture, music as well, like even delivering political speeches or like socio-political speeches. It was just like, yeah, this is what people should know about us, these little key details.
Right. And I'm guessing that, as you are a creative, you learn a lot about yourself through art and the art that you create. But there might have been some pushback, or perhaps it wasn't necessarily a box that you could typically put yourself into. So as a young woman, a young black woman coming up, like, what were some of the narratives that you heard growing up about creativity, success, and just about you being a black woman in general?
I think, so when it comes to my parents, I greatly appreciate them for always giving me room to be creative.
Love it.
But I do think that, particularly my dad, he wanted to kind of give me a safety net. So he wanted to make sure that if I was going to pursue literature, that I would, go to university, which I did, and consider becoming a professor. There was a period of my time where he was like, you know what, let's go down the science route just for that stability. But he really saw, nah, like she really loves poetry, she loves art. Let's let her do creative writing. So that's what I went on to do. And then when I got to uni, I had an amazing Irish creative writing teacher who actually got me to see writing as play.
Right.
And, you know, like, because you grow up with the English literary canon and you see all of these classics and you think this is how you're supposed to talk, this is how you're supposed to write about language. And then these, as a Black person, are the stories you're supposed to tell, you know, the heavily trauma bonding stories that look at things that aren't in touch with our reality today.
Talk about it.
Yeah, and he was like, my lecturer, he really pushed for me to go against that, which I'm still pursuing today, but I got a bit of backlash from like other lecturers being like, you need to find your own style. You need to find your own voice so that it makes it easier for you when you're out there in the industry for people to get you up on a bookshelf and get you up on a category. Completely off topic, but still on topic. I don't know if anyone has watched the film. I forgot the title of the film, but it's based on the book by Percival E. Everett called Erasure.
Okay.
Yeah, and it's basically about a Black writer. He's super academic and he writes about things that have really nothing to do with being Black. But every time he publishes his work, it gets thrown into the Black writer section.
Right.
Yeah. So then he writes sort of like a parody of the type of Black literature that society wants Black people to write, and he makes millions and he goes on press tours and all that kind of stuff. And it just, that moment for me also was like a really big question. Sorry, not question, it was a really defining moment for me to challenge the literary canon for Black people out there.
Okay.
So yeah.
So something about like race versus intersectionality.
Yeah.
Right. So you are Black, right? But that's not all you are.
Yeah.
Right. And so I think what I'm hearing you say is there were people around you that were saying, you know, there are other parts of you that make you you. Yeah. Right. There are other elements of you that make you you. Right. And so you are creative, right? You have many things to share with the world, and those are the things that really make up who you are to your core. Despite the fact that you are Black, and obviously that's quite obvious, there are going to be differences within us, right? And those differences within you need to be shared so that when people pick up a book on a bookshelf, they know that this is Luana's book.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I get it. I get it. I totally get it. And I think that's amazing. And I think it's also, you know, powerful that you had supportive parents to kind of, you know, push you on that journey and support you as well. So I wanted to talk about the workshop, right? So one of the workshops that you have, and I know you do many workshops with your organisation, Lux Lit Presents. And basically there's a workshop that explores the theme, Unearthing Peace and Resolution. So can you talk me through, I was really intrigued when I heard that. Can you talk me through what that really means to you and why you think it's important?
Pardon me. Yeah. So the theme came about at a time in my life where I felt like everything in my young world was coming crashing down. All the bubbles were being burst, and a lot of personal traumas were like coming to surface. And I just didn't want to be alone. I wanted to be able to have people to speak to, not necessarily about what I was going through or what they were going through, but just speak to about these challenging moments that were happening about us. So the workshops were about literally that, like working towards finding peace, and not in a way that was like, okay, you have to be totally healed by the end of the workshops. You just have to be comfortable in speaking about whatever it is that you've been letting fester up inside of you. You don't have to go into key details about it, but
there's healing that comes from it. I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
Believe me, I understand. Like, using your voice can be a tool to really clear and cleanse you in ways that people, I think, don't really understand. And that really does lead me on to the next point that I want to make. Why do you feel like it's important for there to be spaces for voices to be heard, for people to be able to have spaces to come and just speak and just free themselves by using their voice?
Because I don't think it's done enough.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that there is so much noise out there. It's really hard to hear your own voice, and it's really hard to grow if you're stuck in the outside noise. And I feel like art, all forms of art, has kind of become, people have sort of taken it for granted and forgotten about the emotional support that you get from exploring it.
Shout out to our sponsors, Arts Council England, Passion Afrique, and Anais Art. Without you, none of this would be possible. You truly have helped to keep our vision and our mission going. Also, if you're an individual or organisation that would like to collaborate with us and you believe in collaboration over competition, then email us at blackhistoryproject2025@gmail.com. And there's something about community, right? Something about bringing people together and having this non-judgmental space where people can just say, this is my truth, right? And people just let them know that it's okay. I see you. Not only do I see you, parts of you have also, touched parts of me, because I resonate deeply in some areas. So I think it's really important to have the connections that perhaps we don't typically have, especially with projects like this. Community is a really, really key theme as well. And I think bringing people together in those spaces, which you're clearly doing, is really, really admirable. So,
thank you.
Onto the picture. So, Luana, I didn't actually get to see you take these pictures, but you really took some really fantastic pictures, right? And so when I see this picture, I think to myself, wow, your eyes just look like really, really intense and powerful, and there's a deep resonance when I look into it. So Darren did a really, really amazing job, taking this picture ultimately. But I want to ask you, you've seen these pictures in different spaces. I think I saw you at the University of East London, right? And I saw you wandering around the room, just kind of like looking at the pictures. And I saw you stop at yours. And I want to know, what does it feel like when you see your pictures in those spaces? And what messages do you hope people can take from it when they see your picture?
I think, firstly, off the bat, I will be totally honest and say that it was very unfamiliar for me to see myself like this.
Okay.
Simply because of the print. So my mum's Cape Verdean, my dad's from Guinea-Bissau and Palop. And growing up, more so from my dad's side, I was always gifted a lot of our traditional print and wear. And it was always stuffed under my bed because I was like, I'm never going to wear this in the UK. It doesn't really make any sense. I don't understand it. I don't know how to connect to it, because though I was born in Portugal, I moved here when I was 3, and it's taken me a while to sort of accept that I have more British tendencies to me than I would like to admit. So it was very unfamiliar to see myself like this, just because of how colourful it was. I was like, oh my gosh, there's so much colour on me, and there's so much colour in me.
Come on, I love that.
It was just it was very beautiful, and I felt sorry.
It's okay.
It's all right. I'm in my luteal phase.
It's all right. It's okay. But this is a non-judgment free zone right here as well. So it's something about seeing you in this clothing, right? And really understanding that it felt like you reconnected, right? So originally you would get these garments and from your mum and your dad, and you would push them under your bed. But now you've come full circle.
And I've put them on.
Not only have you put them on, you've put them on in a very public way.
Yeah.
Right? So this picture has been everywhere. pretty much, you know, and it's been in it has been in the biggest library in Europe, Birmingham Library. And so it's amazing that when you speak about the disconnect, but now reconnecting and seeing yourself in this way, and I see you getting emotional about it, I think it's really, really powerful and beautiful. And I think, you know, one of the things that I really want to ask you is, there's going to be other young girls, right, that have parents who come from African backgrounds, right? But they are now in the Western world, as we call it. And so now they want to fit in. They don't want to wear the traditional garments. They don't want to, you know, they want to look different. They want to look like, they don't want to look different. They want to look like everybody else out there, right? So talk to me about, like, what would you say to young ladies who perhaps are finding it hard to connect with that side of them?
I think, first of all, and it's still like a work in progress for me, there's a duality that needs to be accepted. I think that it's a thing where you have to sort of learn to be okay with the fact that, okay, you could be losing your mother tongue, you could be losing parts of your culture that you had a lot more growing up, but find spaces and people and take on opportunities that will allow you to come back to it, to reconnect with it. Like when Audia told me about this, I was like, okay, I'm gonna go do it, because I need to get comfortable in being in, and this can sound really weird, but my original skin.
I hear that.
Yeah,
I totally hear that. And I want to ask you, what was the process like for you? You know, you already talked about, you know, how it was unfamiliar. So when you was in the space, you know, putting these clothes on, trying these clothes on, and then you was, you know, put in front of a camera, essentially, what was that process like for you in that moment?
yeah. So with the clothes, it was quite funny, because I saw all the garments and I was like, okay, well, can I wear this with a satin skirt? Can I wear this with some leather pants? And Alia was like, no, you're going to go full traditional. You're going to do it right.
Yeah.
And so eventually when I found my fit, I was like, okay, this is cool. I can work with this. Getting in front of the camera is still a little bit like uncomfortable for me, just like in general. But then, yeah, like going back to seeing the pictures, I was like, nah, Luana, you look gorgeous.
You look amazing.
You look beautiful.
And this ain't the only one. We got like a Rolodex, man. There's like loads of them. So I would really, really commend you. And I think it's important that, you know, young black girls see you in this way, in your natural state, because you are really, really gorgeous. And I think yesterday when I saw you, the first thing I said, hello, beautiful. Because you're just gorgeous, and it's an inside thing. I'm not even talking about the outside. It's very, very clear that you have a light within you.
Thank you.
So projects like this really are about, you know, the voices of the underrepresented, right? So I want to ask you, what do you hope that people can take from projects like this, and how do you think they can benefit the creative community in particular, and the Black community?
I think that, going back to it, I think there's a lot in terms of reconnection. I feel like that's the greatest thing to take away from this. Pardon me. Another thing that really sort of spoke to me about this project was knowing that it was organised by Audia, who's also Palop, and I was like, you know what, more people like me need to be put on the map, and Audia's taken that stance. And so follow people who are helping you put yourself out there, who are helping you put yourself out into the world and helping you show up for yourself. And I think that that's what people should take away from this, and that's what people should seek when it comes to opportunities like this.
Okay, so let's talk about moving forward. So you're starting you're in the moment, you're creating a poetry anthology, right?
Yes.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
So what are some of the themes that you will be exploring in this work, and why do you feel like it's important to explore those themes?
Yeah, actually starting the anthology came from the type of writing that I wanted to put out there. So going against all the narratives I heard about the type of writer that I had to be, and telling the parts of my story that I wanted to tell with that in mind. So I was very inspired by two writers. One of them is called Eleanor Savage, Ali Smith and Carmen Maria Machado. And they have a lot of experimental ways of writing and dealing with their personal traumas and their relationships with people growing up. And I said, I'm going to do my own one. So my poetry anthology is called Doler. I know that I've definitely mispronounced that, but it's the Latin word for grief. And there are 4 sections in it. And they are defining moments in my relationships, romantic relationships, let's say. Some of them are romantic, others are not. There is some touch on trauma. I'm a very explicit writer as well. I like to speak on the taboo. I like to be upfront when it comes to sexual experiences as well. So there's all of those intricacies in there. And even though on the whole it's a poetry anthology, there are creative essays in there, there are short stories. Everything is mixed up.
All right then. So I think as the youngest participant, I want to ask you a question to leave people with. So what advice would you give to other young creatives who simply don't know where to start? What would you say to them about exploring their creativity as a young Black creative overall?
I would say start with yourself. If you can, go back to your childhood in a safe way. What was it that you used to love? Like, was it painting? Was it collaging? Was it writing? Was it listening to music, making music? And just start there. Play about with it. I think if you're trying to make something of it, try not to take it too seriously. That's definitely one of the problems that I had. I thought that I had to be perfect when I set my mind on it. And that's not the way to go about it. It's just literally about having fun.
Perfection, not progress. Perfection is not needed, but progress absolutely is. Okay, thank you so much. Thank you. So guys, if you want to connect with Luana, you can do so by looking at the information in the description box below. But until next time, take care. See you soon. Be blessed. Bye-bye.